T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and...
Welcome, everybody. We are your hosts, Rockinmrmagic.
UNIQDNA.
This is the original Jeek podcast.
Gang. I don't see no competition in my face.
What
If we do, then we just move them out the way. I don't even need no money in my face. Hold on. Give me the money when I finish with the gang.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of the original Jeek podcast with your host, Rockinmrmagic, and for the first time, a good friend of mine, Pat Rhoads. Pat, welcome to the show, brother.
Awesome, man. Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
No, I'm glad to do it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can get moving on.
I don't know. There's not much to it, pretty straightforward. Big lover of sports. I know we talk about it at work, kind of sharing a passion for, not only sports, a little bit of video games, film, things of that nature. So, we could sit here all night, but I think you're only going to cap me to an hour. So.
That's right. I capped him to an hour because we have time constraints here. So Pat is a Jeek through and through, loves sports, loves games, loves outdoor stuff. He's right within our vein. So first question, speaking of gaming, what are you playing right now? And that can be anything, obviously, sport. I know you play a lot of baseball, softball, video games, board games. What are you playing right now?
Yeah. I kind of have this problem where I got to buy an external hard drive. I'm an Xbox guy. So I got too many games to play. I actually just downloaded Forza.
Okay.
Actually a big fan of it. I love cars, and whatnot. So it's something I can get into. Fortnite, but Fortnite is only with the friends. You know what I mean?
It's a community game.
It's a very frustrating game.
How's it frustrating you?
There's a lot of updates. I think it's another topic with kind of that ninja guy and all that, but it's just kind of, it can get frustrating. It's a big game. Some people take it a little bit too seriously at times. So, it's kind of like, oh man. And plus it can get kind of repetitive.
Yeah, that's true.
I need a little something else. And then NHL,
Okay.
Big NHL guy, start of the season coming up. So I got to get back in the mid-season form,
Of course. So are you playing Battle Royale only on Fortnite, or did you buy the story mode?
Yeah, you can buy the story mode.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
Okay.
I've heard it's okay, but, me and my friends, we just kind of roll with the free one,
Yeah, the Battle Royale is where it's at with Fortnite. The campaign is, it's you can get it, you cannot get it. Doesn't really change your experience of the game all that much.
I could guarantee you that half the people that you just said that don't even know that there is a campaign.
No, yeah, they don't know it's a campaign mode that costs money. Isn't this free to play? Nah.
Yeah. It's a fun fact of the day there,
Exactly. Cool. Of course. Well, yeah, NHL, I'm a big fan of NHL. It's been a fantastic game, an overlooked cornerstone of the EA Sports franchise. Of NHL lives, which is your favorite?
I have to say the new one.
Okay.
The new one, I don't know if you've got to take a look at it or preview it, but there's a lot of my player stuff, right? So it's individually based.
Right.
Right. I love to play Ultimate Team.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like being in control of your team. Like I can pick which player I like, rearrange lineups, stuff like that. But for the most part, I like it. It's like one-on-one stuff. You can kind of make your own player, your career. So I like it. Obviously because it's the best and the newest one, but you can't knock the other ones. The ones from before that, if you asked me this question last year, it's probably,
it would have been last year's.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to touch on that, it sucks, man. There's no MLB game for Xbox.
That's true. The show is exclusive to PS. Well, that's why you got to stop being an Xbox guy. They have no exclusives. There's two. All the exclusives are Nintendo or Sony.
Yeah, but Xbox has Gears of War, which I'm a big fan.
Yeah, that is one of their few IPs that holds them on, because outside of Gears and Halo, which is kind of a dead franchise itself, they're really not pushing. Coming back, but right now kind of in limbo, I should say, instead of dead. But Gears, Halo, Fable, I'm hearing, is going to make a comeback too. There's not many, individual intellectual properties that you have exclusive on Xbox. It's just, I don't know what they've done, or I should say what they haven't done to secure more exclusivity. It just makes sense to do it, especially if you don't have original properties like Nintendo does with Mario and the Zelda world, where they have those cornerstones they can rely on. You don't have them, you got to make up with something else if you don't have that. Sony, at least they had Crash Bandicoot. They signed that exclusivity deal with for Final Fantasy with Square. Like, they had those ones you had to get their system to have. Even Grand Theft Auto at first, it was only on Sony until finally became out on Xbox. You have to have something to draw people in more than 2 or 3 titles.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I know that Xbox recently, I was watching the E3 conference, right? So a lot of that stuff coming out with like new and individual games, like it's something to get excited about, right? Like another Red Dead is in the making.
Exactly.
Halo is coming back. I think it's like, what, 4 years?
It's been a while.
4 years. I want to say 4 years. And Halo Wars doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, for like an actual, and it's a shame because I'm sure you can relate. Halo with your buddies, like.
Oh, that was it. It was dope.
Yeah.
And Halo was the reason why I bought an Xbox. I wasn't going to get one until I played Halo at a friend's house. I was like, I got to have this now. It sold me.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that, I like to, it's all right. And again, I'm one of those guys, I'll be honest, like, I can't play the same game day in and day out unless it really, really grabs me. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like Fallout. There's a new Fallout coming out. That game, in my heart, is a top 3 of all time.
Okay.
Well, for me, because I like it, because I can sit down and I can play it for hours on end.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect rainy day game on a Sunday, no football or something, and you just play Fallout all day.
I have to confess, I've actually never played Fallout.
Ah, man, I recommend it. It's you got to set aside like a good 3 days, though.
I hear great things about it. I know people that still replay Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and of course the hype coming out for Fallout 76. It's just one of those games where it just never came across my path. I never saw it like on a sale. Like, okay, let me get it on sale. Let me to try it out, see how it is. I've heard so much about it,
right.
And everything I've heard has been good about it. But it's never one of those games where it's like, I never came around to, because I always had something else that I knew I wanted to spend the money on. And I've got to be frugal with how I spend my money on my games. I got limits because I got kids to feed. So, I'll buy this game here and buy this game here, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend this money on Destiny. Okay, I'm gonna spend this money on 2K. I'm gonna spend this money on probably another Destiny update because they keep doing that. But it was always something else that kind of stepped ahead of Fallout, and I never found a sale where it could be like, I could look at my wife and be like, hey, baby, hey, look, it was $20.
You got to make time for this.
Generally, it's 60, or the deluxe is like 80. It was $20. Okay, and then she'd be like, okay, I understand. I just never saw that much of a discount or significant enough for me to be like, okay, I'll spend the extra $20, $30 or $40, whatever, on sale to get it. I definitely want to play it though. Everyone's raving about what 76 could bring, how good 3 is, how good 4 is. I'm like, okay, I've got to try this game. So it's I saw people making their custom Pit Boys and everything. I'm like, yo, that looks dope. I want to get into this. And there's a whole world that I don't know about that everyone's like, I feel like I'm excluded. I'm like, oh man, I'm not in this.
Yeah, the thing, and that I would say get it on PC. I know Steam pretty much discounts like anything, but with the updates, the new thing for like Xbox, I know, right? Like you can they put mods in the game. That was really introduced not too long ago. I personally played through without any mods first, and then when we go back around a second time, it's fun to have.
Of course,
it won't cheat the game, but it'll change it to make it a better experience. So,
yeah,
I would recommend it.
Oh, it's definitely on my list. Of course, right now my money is earmarked to getting a Switch before the year is over. But I'm gonna make this Fallout thing happen.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I can't. I don't think I can say a bad thing about any of them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
Yeah. I mean, I just they're just solid games. I don't know. Have you played Oblivion or?
It's been a long time, but yes.
I mean, Oblivion is you fight with like rocks and swords. I know some people are kind of into that, but I don't know. I just think the Fallout one is not only like the graphics, the setting, just the fact that you can kind of choose different factions and then based off of your choice, that will decide the gameplay. I think.
Yeah, that's why I hear like people. There's like 4 factions that you can choose from.
Depending on which one you have, right? You can kind of. And again, like that's the cool part is that where they really get you coming and going is you'll play it once and then you'll be like, all right, well, let's go down and choose a different faction and then replay it and see what happens there, right? And so it keeps people on it.
Cool. Well, I dig that. I dig that a lot. Kind of like what you would do if you had like more of like a Walking Dead style game like that. Like, okay, I'm going to choose to be, I'm going to choose to be with Rick's group, or I'm going to choose to be with the Saviors, or I'm going to choose to be with that group, or Morgan's group, or this group.
Yeah, so they do a good job. I can't complain,
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we were talking a little bit, obviously, previously about the wild card. So I know you've been watching baseball. Outside of watching baseball, what else have you been watching lately?
Yeah, well, that's very. This time of the year is, I always say, man, it is. You gotta love this time of the year for sports, right? I mean, I'm a big hockey guy, like we talked about, and as well as baseball. So playoff baseball is, I think it's one of the greatest things to watch on TV. If you're a fan, if you like sports, if you enjoy it, I mean, yeah. I mean, how can you not love it? But it's hard.
There's something special about playoff baseball. Even for people who don't like baseball, playoff baseball has a special rarefied air, a special feel to it.
Yes.
September, October baseball. It's when people who they get sucked into it because the drama amps up. The season being so long, the drama's not there. But when the drama finally gets into the game and some of the storylines that occur through rivalries and the series that they play throughout the season, when those things come into head, you see the emotion of the players, you see the managers arguing, getting, pumping up the players, yelling at the umps. People who are casual or not fans at all, they can get drawn to that.
Yeah, and that's something I know in a segment coming up, I definitely want to touch on with that, obviously from personal experience. But actually would love to talk. I actually just started, when we're not on sports, I actually finished Narcos on Netflix. I know.
Okay.
It was awesome. Again, that's one of those things where it was tough at first because, I mean,
the Spanish.
Yeah, but there's subtitles, right? So, if you're coherent, right, you can follow it enough. It's pretty easy. But again, I don't know. It's weird. Like I kind of like that. Not like obviously not the drug part of it, but like the gangsters, the drug trafficking, right? The crime, the mystery. What's like it. You want to watch the next episode, but you can't because it's 3:30 in the morning. You're like, oh.
Right. You got to get up to be at work at 8 o'clock.
Right, and it's something that keeps you kind of coming back. But yeah, the only bad thing I would say about it is at the beginning it's a little slow. One episode they kind of do to backdraw the entire storyline. But after that, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, Narcos is great. I've been watched the second season. I watched the first season, and it's probably the third or fourth show I've watched on Pablo Escobar. So it's like it's kind of rinse and repeat a bit for me. But I really liked how Netflix made themselves different from other tellings of the story. And it is great. It is definitely a binge show, just episode after episode after episode. It's fantastic. It's well produced, well acted. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. It was one, and then going a while back, I actually finished Stranger Things. Really good.
Stranger Things.
It was fantastic.
I'm kind of surprised because of your age range that you say that, because most people that I talk to your age, they watch and they're like, it's okay. And I'm sitting there like, what do you mean it's okay? It's amazing. But it's a big nostalgia pop for me because that was life for me in the 80s. That's me and my homies on our bikes, riding around town. Like, that's huge for me on a nostalgia kick. But I'm pleasantly surprised that you dug it, because most people in their early 20s are like, yeah, it was okay, it was all right. I'm like, but they also don't understand a lot of the references, or understand the time frame in what was going on in the world during that time to kind of get everything that's going on in the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, because I agree, that was me and my friends too, right? So it was riding around town on your bikes, right? Going off, like playing in the woods, stuff like that, right? So
yeah, being little goonies.
Yeah, right. But like with like the whole like scenery, right? It's like the old like 80s, 90s scene, right? I mean, the fact that it's another one of those shows, right? So once you kind of get with it, like once you know what it's about, you're locked in, right? You're not putting the show down. And it's a cool show. It's like and at the end, not to ruin anything, but it's a feel good show, right? It's your ups and your downs. They do a great job of that. And then at the end, hey, it's good to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely one I couldn't stop. When I watched it, I started and I was like, because I'm not a big horror fan.
Yeah.
So I didn't want. I was like, if this is like horror, I don't want to watch it. So I decided to watch it, and I was watching it with my son, and I think I started it at like I say 8 o'clock at night, and then before we knew it, it was 2-something in the morning. No, actually, I think it was later than that. I think it was like 4. And he ended up going to bed. There was one episode left, and I'm like, screw it, I'm watching the last episode. He woke up. He was mad that I watched the last episode without him. I'm like, hey man, look, you didn't have to go to bed, but I was up all night. I won't watch this last episode because it just had me hooked. I couldn't stop.
Yeah, hey man, they do a good job of it. It has that effect on you, right? So I mean, then it's a cool show. I mean, I'm not watched everything on Netflix, right? But I was told referrals of friends like, dude, you'll like it, you'll love it, it's great. And at first, I was like, all right, like, what are we doing here? And then after a while, I was like, I stand corrected. So
yeah, and like Netflix has a penchant for their shows starting off kind of slow.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind, because they tell when Netflix does a show right, they do really good storytelling, and they start off slowly and do a good job of setting the background and the premise for the story. They did it with Daredevil. They did it with Stranger Things. They did it with Narcos. They've done it with the majority of their successful original programming. So I don't mind the slower starts, because once they pick up their pace, they're hitting it, they're on stride, and they're going, and it really doesn't really slow down until they hit the climax, and they're trying to ease you into the potential the next season, which hopefully happens. I mean, it's already October, and outside of that Super Bowl bit, I haven't heard a thing about season 3 for Stranger Things.
Yeah, we'll see. I heard something about it, but it's about time where I should just start trusting Netflix, like you said, and just probably watch the whole recommended Netflix series tab. So I'll get on that one of these days. I should probably just eat my words and just go for it.
Well, I don't know. I would still listen to the recommendations from some friends, because I mean, they've hit some home runs, but some of the shows have been like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, Marco Polo started out good, but then I was like, okay, I'm really bored with this. Like, it couldn't hold me. They've had some other shows I was just like, I'm not. And some shows I'm just not into. Like, obviously they make shows for different, demographics. So I'm not going to watch the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or something like that. That doesn't, that doesn't appeal to me. But some of the shows, and there's some hidden gems. Like, there's some in my queue people look at it like, what show is that? I'm like, yo, I like it. It's a cop show. It's good. This is a BBC Netflix show. I'm with it. Like, and there are some really good quality shows that, because they weren't super popular, they didn't do additional seasons of. But there are some good ones out there. But every once in a while they hit a flop, and I'm like, y'all dropped the ball on that one. Like, let's not do that one again.
Yeah, that It's gonna go without laughing. Trailer Park Boys on Netflix, man. I don't think I've seen a funnier show. It's for spoiler alert, it is crude humor, a lot of cursing, right? But it's if you're of age, right, like
Of
us, and you
course.
watch this, I mean, you have a hard time not like watching it to get a good laugh. Then there's like like I like to watch Top Gear. Top Gear's
Okay.
awesome. There's a couple other ones sprinkled in there. Of course, I can't think of them.
Now,
Right.
do you watch Top Gear USA or British?
The British guys, the old British ones are cool because those
Oh yeah.
guys did it right. The USA ones are like, I mean, you're like 1 for 6 on every episode. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. They just it's not the same.
You have one solid one, and then you have like 6 in a row. What are you thinking? No one cares.
Right.
It gets too reality showish. And then like your stuff. Remember when the 30 for 30 ESPN documentaries used to be on there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Love
can't go wrong.
Yeah, I think I rewatched the U like 10 times. I
Yes.
watched my one about my bad boy Pistons probably 30 times.
Yeah.
There's the ESPN 30 for 30 docs are fantastic.
And if you don't mind, I might roll into this next one here. The 30
Go
day,
ahead.
or is that the 4 days in October? The notorious Red Sox comeback. I mean, I'm not a Sox fan, but when the Sox were down 3-0 and forced to Game 7 and 1 when they did the documentary on it, that was as a fan and as an oh man,
I couldn't watch it. I'm not even a Yankee fan. I remember watching that series on TV, and I respect the Yankees, and I respect them. I respect the stand for excellence, and also being from Michigan, I'm a big Derek Jeter fan. I was a Derek Jeter fan before like he was famous and popular. So
yeah.
I rolled with DJ. I liked a lot of players they had in those '90s World Series teams, like Bernie, Tino, Paul O'Neill. I liked a lot of those players. I loved Del Duque. He was like 98 years old, still pitching. Obviously Mariano, Andy Pettit. Like I liked a lot of those players, and also the players that they had that were former stars that became role players for them, like Darryl Strawberry, Cecil Fielder, who was one of my favorite Tigers, Doc Gooden, Knobloch, Wade Boggs, like all these players I grew up watching in the 80s, all of a sudden, like, look, we're going to retire or go to the Yankees and try to win a championship. So I liked a lot of those players. So I have a respect, for them. I don't like the Sox at all, obviously, since they were, AL East rivals before Detroit got moved into the Central.
Right.
So I don't like them. And watching them, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for the Yankees because I love DJ and, whatever. And I'm like, I'm watching this collapse, and I'm still shocked that it happened. Like those are two things I just can't believe I saw happen. That and like the NBA giving Cleveland the championship 2 years ago. Those are just two things. I'm like, this is a train wreck. Like how is this actually happening?
Yeah. I would say train wreck is a perfect word or two, whatever that might be, to describe that series, because I don't know if you recall the first game, Boston was, I mean, if you watch the documentary, which I highly recommend anyone listening to this do, right? You should do that. Like Boston was down like 12-0. It's like 12:30 in the morning. Yeah, position guys are pitching, and it's game 1, and it's at Fenway.
Yep.
And it's just like getting punched in the gut. And like you watch the Boston sports writers. Oh yeah, the Sox, we're gonna suck again. Like
that was actually pretty good.
And they all are. It's worse than like Philly WIP. Like, oh my God, like when it's the sky is falling. But I mean, guys on that team were, you gotta, I'm personally not a fan of the Yankees, but I respect DJ, Bernie, Mo, those guys.
Exactly.
Just from being in the game for my whole life. But like, like Manny, Manny being Manny out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Ortiz is home run into the night and it's 12 o'clock and we're hitting home runs off Mariano. Like, for them, I think it was a perfect storm. And then to blow the doors off the Yankees in Game 7 was, it's something to remember. So I like that.
It was 86 years in the making for them. I mean, they've had so many heartbreaks, from the ball going between what's Billy whatever's legs, and Aaron Boone, the most unlikely guy to hit a walk-off home run on you. Just so many heartbreaking moments, and then to see your stars. The stars that you were built your franchise upon, Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens, go to the Yankees and win title after title.
I will still never get that for the life of me. Ellsbury, Johnny Damon, Bob.
Yeah.
What, is it like, I feel as though, like I said, being like, obviously, I played my whole life. I played in high school. I played in college. I still play, right? Like, it's like going to, like, your most hated team and just like, hey, what's up, guys? Like, I don't get it.
It would be one thing if you had left your team. Okay, I'll take Clemens as an example. It wasn't as bad for me with Clemens because Clemens spent a couple years in Toronto before he went to the Yankees. It's not like he left Boston and went right to their mortal enemy. I think he won a Cy Young in Toronto. Like, he went and
Was he in Toronto? I don't think he was. Was he in Toronto?
Yeah. You don't remember Clemens in Toronto?
Very vivid. Like, I just, every time, I'm going to be honest, every time I think of Roger Clemens, I just think of him, as a Yankee. Here, I got a list in front of me. It's Red Sox from 84 to 96, Toronto 97 to 98, Yankees, Astros, Yankees again.
Yep. 2 years in Toronto, which he pitched really well in Toronto. And he won the Cy Young in 97 and 98.
I forgot that he was there. Like, I knew because I know he was kind of like I don't want to say like a journeyman, but he bounced around to a couple teams, right? So, like, you play for everybody in the AL East at this time, which it is now, but
pretty much
he was okay in Houston. I remember that.
Oh yeah, and they went to the World Series.
Yep.
Him and Pettit, and then Carlos Beltran's coming out party.
Yeah. So.
But I look at him, I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. But I was like, Boggs pretty much went.
Ellsbury has to be the worst, I think, in my opinion.
Worse than Johnny Damon?
Ooh, Damon's a tough one. The only reason
because Johnny Damon went and won a title there. Ellsbury just went there, but Damon went and won a title there.
Ellsbury, no, he did not. I think he did. Ellsbury,
because the last one in 09. It's been since 09.
Well, didn't the Sox win in 12? That was with
No, I'm saying, but he left the Sox and went to the Yankees and won a title. Where Ellsbury won a title with the Sox, but he didn't win one in New York. I think it's a bigger betrayal to leave because you see that the team that you were on that won 2 championships is breaking down. Pedro's leaving. Manny got moved to the Dodgers. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to the Yankees and win one now. Like, to me, that's like, wow. Like, I mean, to me, you're free to pretty much go anywhere you want once you've broken an 86-year drought. But, there's got to be a limit just when it comes to.
By the way, Ellsbury did win one in 2007. It was his rookie year. That's when it was in 2007 with Boston.
Yep. And
then he got one in 2013 with Boston again.
Right.
So, in my opinion, because I always used to model myself after Ellsbury in Boston was a great player.
Oh yeah.
Great defensive center fielder, and that's where I played. So I was like, man, Ellsbury's great, and he should handle the lumber pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you win 2 titles for a team, right, especially a team that's in Boston, I mean, why would you go to New York? Like, you're supposed to beat those guys every year, and you hate them to get to the title. So why? I would never in my
in your wildest dreams.
That's an ideal place. But hey, money talks, man, and you can see perfect example with Ellsbury.
Yeah. Oh, that's part of that is having no salary cap when they can throw all the money in the world that they want at you. Who's going to turn down that money? Because I don't think Jacoby was worth that money either. But who's going to turn that down?
Don't get me started on this.
Okay. All right. Speaking of Yankee Sox, let's go into the ALDS. And what's your prediction to come out for Yankee Sox this year?
I have the Sox.
How many games?
I want to say 5, just because of what we just talked about. right? It's Yankee Sox. You know, I mean,
It's
A-Rod
arguably one
coming
of the
out to the
greatest.
mound. Huh?
It's arguably one of the greatest rival. It's arguably the greatest rivalry in sports. It's in the upper echelon of
Yes.
great sports rivalries.
Top 3.
Oh yeah.
I want to say 5. But again, you know, I mean, you know me, man, from talking to each other, right, all the time. I follow it very religiously. The Sox lineup, 1 through 9, and then
It's
plus
tough.
the other 6 guys on the bench, I think are deeper than New York. New York has,
It's a tough lineup to pitch through. I agree.
I would say the only reason I say no to New York, they have a very strikeout heavy lineup.
Oh yeah, Stanton, Judge,
Sanchez,
Sanchez, very strikeout heavy.
and then who else? I mean, Hicks he's okay, but you know, you have all that talent and all that money wrapped up. You got to wonder, is it worth it? And then New York's pitching is very suspect.
Oh yeah,
Very suspect.
Has been for the past few seasons.
Right, and in the playoffs, I mean, which we'll get to. I mean, a lot of it is. I actually just watched Milwaukee just won. I just watched Milwaukee walk off. Turn to my left here on my TV.
On the Rockies, okay.
They walked off against them, but
Wow.
10-inning game, bullpen did their job. I think New York has a good bullpen. The starting pitching is what's going to make or break them in the long run.
Yeah, it's very weak.
If you got into a fist fight, I'd probably take New York. If you probably talked an overall hitting lineup, athleticism, I would take Boston, without a doubt.
I think Boston, especially on paper, top to bottom, you look at their pitching staff, you look at their field positions, they're the best team in baseball on paper. I don't know how.
I'll get to that.
I think they are. I think top to bottom, they're the best. I would agree with you that I say the Sox should win.
Yes.
But because it's Yankee Sox, anything can happen. And part of the problem, I think, for the Sox is going to be momentum. The dramatic fashion, the more drama there is, the better it is for the Yankees. So coming into the season with a little bit of drama, getting in and starting to get hot is good for the Yankees. The way Judge hit the ball in the wild card game, good for the Yankees. Which does not spell good things for Boston, because the hotter they get, the more drama there is for New York, the more things play into their hands. Because even though the Sox have been better, let's say the past decade, than the Yankees have overall, things still tend to play towards the Yankees' hands. And that's not good for Boston.
Yeah, to an extent, I think. I mean, I finished. What did Boston finish with this year? Like 108 wins?
Something like that, yeah.
Back check me on that one. I don't know. It's 100 plus, and it's well over. I just think that, and again, to counter your point with momentum, I mean, 108 wins in the MLB, that is, I think they set a record. Most wins in a season.
Something like that, yeah.
They were close with Seattle. Seattle did it way back. But I just think, you know, like they have like that 3-headed monster with Sale, I think pretty Ricky Porcello. He's okay. And then Price. But to your point, they are all three very suspect in the playoffs.
Yes, which is why Detroit doesn't have Price and Porcello anymore, because they couldn't get it done when we needed them to get it done. They disappeared.
Price, speaking of cups of coffee in Toronto, Price was there, if you recall.
I recall that too, yeah.
And he had a pretty rough couple of games. And it seems as though, I mean, I'm a Rays guy, right? When Price was in Tampa, he was lights out. And then he would get to the playoffs, and it's like, where did David Price go?
Yeah, it's like, is he still on the roster? Like, what happened to David Price?
Yeah, you know, I mean, again, I don't know. It should be a good one. It's Yankee Sox. It's the playoffs. It's October. So, I mean, you know how it goes. It's going to be, I want to say Game 5, but I think the Sox take it. They have a pound for pound, all around better lineup. I think Yankees are too, you know, launch angle, exit velocity, hit the ball out of the park when the Sale's throwing at you at 100 miles an hour. I don't know.
Well, yeah, to throw in a boxing analogy, the Yankees are trying to be a heavyweight boxer and just bludgeon you. And the Sox are actually trying to box and hit you some big haymakers here, hit you with a bunch of jabs, hit you with a couple gut shots for doubles, and play good defense and just, actually box you
down.
Exactly, wear you down.
And again, that's the thing, man. Like, and not just, I mean, I'm not a Yankees fan whatsoever, right? Do they have a good lineup? Yes. Are there some holes in it?
Oh, yeah.
And again, they got by the A's, right? And the A's, if you watch the game, their whole approach was kind of like a bullpen approach, similar to what the Rays did. And
I have no faith in the A's. The A's have been floundering once they get to the playoffs forever. Back in the Zito Hudson, days where everyone thought they're going to be so tough. Once they got to playoffs, they couldn't make it happen. I have no faith in them. They haven't been dependable in the playoffs since the 80s.
It's very hard to be dependent on them, but I as a fan, you can definitely honor the fact that with the Oakland A's fielding a 40-man roster with $66 million and making it to Yankee Stadium, I think there's something to hang your hat on there. By no means for Oakland was it a bad season. And if you look at their pitching staff, Edwin Jackson, you know that name? Yeah, I mean, he's like 42, and he's out there throwing
which is a shock. I can't believe he's still in the game.
Like, yeah, he's throwing. They bullpen games together, and I mean, Chris Davis is 48 home runs. So, I mean, for them, Oakland, I mean, hell of a run this year.
The thing is, they do that almost like every couple of years. They do that, and the thing is, you got to come to a point where you got to stop hanging your hat on making it to the playoffs on an extremely cheap roster. Like, you've got to make some moves where you're
I 100%
over the hump.
But it's so hard because, I mean, like we said earlier, with Ellsbury, money talks. So, like, would you rather go play for $750,000 in Oakland for 2 years, or would you rather go play for the Yankees, the Red Sox? Who else? Toronto's got a decent. They can throw some money. Anaheim is suspect of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, at the end of the day, these guys are human. They have a family. They have kids, right? Yeah, so I don't know.
To me, it's on the A's. Like, you've got. So look, Billy. Okay, you've proven your system. They even made a movie about it. Now spend a little bit more money.
I don't think it's that. I just think the man has no money to spend.
You really think they don't have any money to spend?
No.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a bigger topic.
I mean, you're in Oakland. I mean, you got the Raiders there. I mean, they're going to be out. I mean, that's another topic. That'll be interesting to see how that shakes up.
Yeah, I'd love to dive deep on that, but we're running out of time as it is. So, all right. So real quick, give me your prediction on the Rockies and Brewers. Obviously, you just mentioned that the Brewers took Game 1 here.
Rockies have a great lineup. Kyle Freeland threw great in the wild card game. He's going to be huge in this. A couple other guys, German Marquez, a pitcher for the Rockies, a name not many people know at home. He's a very good, very talented pitcher. If the Rockies can out-hit the Brewers, which is going to be really hard, the Brewers when we talk about momentum, Yelich, you could probably throw an Advil pill up at Yelich right now, and he'd probably hit it out of the park.
Probably.
Right? He's MVP this year, without a doubt. He hit for the cycle twice in a season. I think the atmosphere in Miller Park is – you talk about momentum, Rockies, again, hell of a year. But –
yeah, the momentum is definitely Milwaukee's way. I agree with you. I watched their final regular season game against my Tigers, and I'm like, these guys are ready for playoffs. They looked focused, on point. Pitching was sharp. And these guys, they're tagging the ball. And Ryan Braun looked like Ryan Braun 10 years ago. I was like, okay.
He still got it.
These guys are serious.
He still got it.
All right, so Braves, Dodgers.
Dodgers. I mean, Dodgers are another team. You want to talk about money to throw around?
Well, Magic Johnson's part of your ownership team. You got money to throw around.
I mean, you better hope that the Dodgers win this whole thing because, in my opinion, if the Dodgers don't, it's a total epic failure.
Oh, yeah, you got to blow up that team after that then. You spent so much money getting all these guys. If you can't get it done, you got to do something. You got to change something.
They don't get me wrong. I mean, Turner's another name. If he didn't get hurt through the season,
True.
he would be in the MVP talk. I know he won the DL for a little bit there, but you look at the names. I mean, the star power in LA. I mean, these guys like Jock Peterson, great player. Him, Utley's there, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
And then you get into Machado, Kershaw,
Pew.
all these. You just look around and you're like, Dozier, Brian Dozier.
Dozier, yeah.
That's right.
But
But
they got star power falling out everywhere.
I mean, some would say it's an all-star team, but again, the Dodgers have that pitching staff. If it can hold up the bullpen, we'll see. But in my opinion, if the Dodgers do not go all the way in winning fashion throughout all the series, I think you traded the farm to get where you are for Machado and Dozier.
Yeah.
You have a lot of money wrapped up in some guys. I think that if you didn't win last year, you were kind of bridesmaids last year. Again, I agree. I think it's time to I don't want to say I won't say blow it up, but
make some changes.
Yes.
Agreed. Okay, in the last division series matchup, we have Cleveland and the Houston Astros, the defending World Series champions. Which I can't believe I'm saying that, by the way.
I can. This is without a doubt, I think, the best series that you're going to see out of all these we just talked about, and maybe moving on. Aside from Yankees Sox, maybe.
Probably the best baseball, maybe not the most drama. Definitely, probably the best baseball.
This one is going to be. I'm not going to give you a number on this. I'm not going to give you a team.
Okay.
I could see. I mean, I still think aside from Boston winning, it's Houston's to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about an overall pound for pound team? I think the Astros have the best one.
Okay, I can't argue. I think they're really close.
I think on paper they're better than Boston, without a doubt. Altuve, Springer, Correa, Reddick is okay. He's serviceable. Yeah. You got guys everywhere, and then you have the staff, which is, Verlander,
the ageless wonder of Justin Verlander.
He's out there throwing 100. Garrett Cole, and these guys are both eligible for a Cy Young.
Verlander is like my age, right?
Who is Verlander?
Verlander, yeah.
Yeah, age is just a number,
And when you're in your mid-30s and you're throwing that type of heat for that long, I give it to him. It's amazing. Wish he was still doing it in Detroit, but
yeah. That was a good move by them. But I think with them, and then even on the back end, McCullers, Keuchel, those guys can really throw the ball. Their bullpen is very good. But Cleveland, Kluber, Salazar, Carrasco, Trevor Bauer, the lineup, Lindor, Jose Ramirez, these guys. I mean, up and down, I think star power overall, that's going to be your best matchup. I would definitely tune into those.
Most definitely. I have to agree. It's going to be some really good baseball there. Well, I don't know what happened to, mixing up. I hate seeing division teams playing each other in the DS. Like, I like it when they mix it up. I would rather, have the Yankees facing the Astros or Cleveland. I just hate seeing division rivals in the first round, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I can see that. It keeps things interesting.
Exactly. NFL, as you folks know, UNIQDNA and myself are Detroit Lions fans, and while we went into the season with a little hope, that hope is pretty much gone. The Detroit Lions sit at a wonderful 1-3 with the one lone win over the New England Patriots, which you would think would give us hope. However, the Patriots have a penchant for starting off 2-2 and then beating the brakes off of everybody the rest of the season. As you have no ties, you could give me an objective point of view. I am obviously clearly biased. Do you think, and I'm calling for this personally, do you think it's time for Detroit to give up on Matt Stafford?
If you talk to me after the Jets game, yes. I'm not a big Lion. Do I follow the NFL? Yeah, I love it. I mean, every guy loves football. I mean, what are you talking about? They're hot and cold, right? You go out and then what do you throw, like 5 picks?
Something like that.
Sam Darnold beat him. He's so. And then you go out and then you just kind of manhandle the Patriots.
Well, however, we have to look at the fact that Matt Patricia is the Lions coach. He knows that offense and Josh McDaniel inside and out. If there was a team that was going to manhandle New England this year, it was going to be the team that would know them. Like, while I'm watching that game, I watched one of our DBs literally beat the receiver to the spot because he knew where he was going.
Right.
Like, it was clearly unfair. So I even though I figured New England would pull out a win just because they're a better team, I figured the Lions had a legit shot to win that game. But all the other games, like you said, they lost. They got trashed by the Jets in the second half.
Jets are not good.
And the Jets are not a good team.
They're not a good team whatsoever.
No, and we just got manhandled. I forget who just manhandled us. We just got the break speed off of us.
And I'll play the homer card here. I don't think Dallas is good at all either.
Yeah, we just lost to Dallas, and they're not even good.
Go Birds, 100%. But I mean, looking at it, that was one of the things I had started on my notes here. Patricia versus McDaniels or whatever. I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a little cross-field rivalry. It's like the old scene from Waterboy when he's staring across the field, and he's – Yeah, that's there. I think that a little bit of that was going on. But I will say the thing I looked into, the strength of schedule. I mean, they still have a good chance for the teams coming up. You can make something of the season. I also still think across the league, people are ready to give Mahomes the MVP.
Which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's like, really?
I agree.
4 games in. Give me a break.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, that's sports. But, I think with the schedule, I mean, the Bears are,
that defense in Chicago is nice.
Yeah, but Trubisky's never going to throw for 6 touchdowns again in his life.
But it doesn't matter when you've got that defense, and then you added Khalil Mack to an already good
I agree.
defense. You've got to put points on the board.
They're beatable, though.
They are beatable, but I don't know. I just don't have. I like Matt Stafford. He's a good guy. I can't even call my kid anymore. I think he's 31 now. He's a good player. He's got a good arm. He reminds me too much of Brett Favre, though, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a Hall of Fame guy to throw to anymore. And I don't see us. We're not getting better. We got better a bit. We made the playoffs, but we are regressing. And to me, we need to trade him while he still has value, and try to get somebody to actually run the football, because that would be nice. And try to build in the draft and try to get a young quarterback and start over, because I don't think it's going to happen with Stafford. And while he has value, we can send him to some place who could really use a good quarterback, a team that's on the hump, like a Miami, who's got a pretty solid defense, but their biggest problem is their quarterback.
Tannehill is what he is.
Exactly, and I don't think he's going to get any better. Even though Blake Bortles had a good game against New England, I think Jacksonville could use somebody like Stafford. Like, send him some place that has assets that we can get for him, and let him go somewhere where there is a perceived value for Stafford that he could potentially maybe help a team get over the hump, because he is a very talented player.
Arizona,
another one.
Yes. Immediately that comes into my head. Bradford is
trash.
Me or you could go play quarterback better than Bradford. Bradford is terrible. When he was at the Eagles, he was atrocious. But yeah, I think that you guys, I think a name to watch. I'm high on that Will Greer kid from West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
That boy can sling it. He can throw the ball. But I think I wouldn't trade Stafford. I would have, I think soon. Who is the Lions backup? I know this.
We have a backup?
Yeah.
Oh man. Who was our backup? I don't remember.
I don't know. But maybe like draft a guy and let him sit behind Stafford for a couple of years, right? So when Stafford, no offense here, but when Stafford is, if he does go on the downward spiral, right? We got a guy that's, he's not thrown into the fire, but he sat behind Stafford. He's learned the system. He knows what to do for a couple of years here. He knows what we're about, and then roll with the youth. The one thing I will say is with the rebuilding thing, me, diehard Eagles guy, there was a definite change, and I think that they should mirror it, right? There's some definite change that may need to go on internally. So I think that this should just be time that, you know what, look, it's time to be very proactive with this. You know, there's no more 8-8 or, you know, whatever we might
we
go
can't
this
have that
year.
anymore.
Yeah, you know, that can't happen. I think it's unacceptable, and it's, yeah, I think that for you as a fan, I mean, I wouldn't tolerate it. So we'll see.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly where I am. I'm like, you know what, this is going on long enough. You know, let's try to move forward actually and make something happen. That's a positive thing. All right, so next we're gonna try to hit up real quick is going back to the gaming world. Sony announced that they are going to join the retro gaming console war that Nintendo has been dominating with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and they are going to have the PlayStation Classic. The PlayStation 1 Classic specifically is going to come with 20 preloaded PS1 games. Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3, Wild Arms, Ridge Racer, Type 4 have all been confirmed, as well as Jumping Flash, but the other 15 titles remain a mystery. The PS Classic will start at $100 and will release on December 3rd, which is actually the anniversary of its release date in Japan. Now, I own a SNES Classic. I own an NES Classic. I didn't have to pay no $100 for classic systems that came preloaded with more than 20 games. I like Sony. Actually, I don't even think this thing comes with a power cable. I think you have to buy the power cord separately. No, I'm serious. I think
that's brutal.
No, I'm pretty sure. Like, I remember reading like it say what it says it comes with, and I'm like, hold on, what? Yeah, comes with an HDMI cable, a USB cable to power it, and 2 controllers. The AC adapter, however, you know, the important part that plugs into the wall to bring power, is sold separately. So I'm not spending just $100. I'm spending more than $100 because I do need to plug this thing in.
Right. I mean, for me, I wouldn't buy it.
Like
I just wouldn't play it.
Yeah, I love retro gaming. I retro game on Jeek Nation Twitch channel. I love retro gaming. I own a lot of these games that are going to be on here. And yes, it would be nice to play those games without having to wait for the exorbitant load times that you had to deal with on the PS1. But why would I drop 100 plus for that? Like,
Right.
That experience, that's not worth that much for that experience. Because most of these games I can buy now in the PS Store and play on my PS4 and and have the same experience.
That's what we just talked about.
Yeah, so
I mean, think about all the games early on in our conversation. We're like, you know, hey, Fallout and all this, Gears of War and Halo and I know that game Anthem looks fantastic. All these games come out look great. Like, I wouldn't pay $100, well, $130 to go buy a power cable with that. To play something I wouldn't play it. It would sit there, do as my PS1's doing now, just kind of hanging out in the corner. And I to be honest, I think it's kind of a bad move by them. Maybe like your very select few, like your old, you know, hey guys, I still like to play classic games and whatnot, but you know, I just think today's day and age, I'm sure you can back this up, is just like, you know, guys, like, what audience would be going after that?
Well, as someone who's a retro gamer, when I heard the announcement at first, cool. I already have other 2 retro classic mini versions. I could add another one in my collection because I'm also a collector. However, when I read this, I'm like, $100? Really?
Yeah, right.
Like, No, I'm not. I'm not
No.
feeling $100. And then I realized I gotta buy an AC adapter too. That's a turn off. And then I only get 20 games on top of it.
Yeah.
That's another turn off. So I'm thinking, and I think about it. How many PS1 classics do I play? I do not play nearly as many PS1 classics as I do Nintendo classics, or Super Nintendo classics, or even Genesis classics. I play Atari classics a lot more than I play PlayStation classics. I play probably 5 PS1 classics, and 3 of those are Final Fantasies. And outside of some Metal Gear Solid and Tekken, that's it. Like, I don't really go back and play a lot of PS1 games. Just now, if it was a PS2, that would be different because I still play a ton of my PS2 games, but it's not worth that money, and that's just too much. Now they were saying, hey, this is going to be $70, and it came with my AC adapter,
Right.
your 2 controllers. You don't even have to give me an HDMI cord.
That's huge for me.
You know, like, you don't have to give me that because I got HDMI cords everywhere. I don't need an extra HDMI cord.
Yeah.
I do need a power supply though. Like, that's important.
That's a huge turnoff for me, honestly. Like, all right, like, let's just say you buy it and you go to open it up and you're really excited to play it and you're like, oh, wait, like, because I can
You
guarantee
go to plug it in and you're like, wait
a
what's
second.
going on?
Yeah. Well, I can guarantee you that half the people, I mean, not everyone's going to do their research on it. So they're going to be like, oh, yeah, like, that sounds like a cool idea. $100? Oh, yeah, whatever. I see past that. I got to get a power cord. Like, then I want to see some of the faces of people when they buy it and they come home and they open it up and they're so pumped to play it and they're like, oh, wait, like, you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, that would be my reaction. Like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, come on. Like, I gave you my $100 for what? To go buy something else? No, that doesn't fly with me either. The last one we'll do for tonight is The Walking Dead. So they have announced, AMC has announced that they are prepared to do 10 more years of The Walking Dead. Now, we've already had 8 seasons, and we're about to start season 9. So we're talking about
years.
Say what?
Is this like real life years or years in the show?
That's a great question. No, but we're talking real life. We're talking seasons. We're talking at least 10 more seasons, which would bring the grand total of The Walking Dead seasons to 19. And that's just for The Walking Dead. They haven't said how long about Fear the Walking Dead, which has given us, of course, additional Walking Dead. I like The Walking Dead, but this is asinine.
I just, like, that's like, you know, like we talked about, like, Lost. Like, y'all were lost for 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard as a viewer. Like, we touched on it earlier with
People
these
keep
shows.
finding them too, but they were still lost.
Yeah, and it's after a while, you're just like, all right, there's other stuff I can do on a Tuesday night than watch these people be lost again for the 4th year. It's like a waste of time. You know, we talked about the shows earlier. Like, you get into them, you watch them. It's like you're in and out in like a couple of days if you really stay on it, and then you walk away satisfied. There is no possible way, right, that I could get into any, like, 10 years. Like, how? Like, how can anyone get into that?
I don't know. Like, I don't know how people will still watch The Simpsons after 20-something years. Like, I think like you've got to be on material. No, that's a sitcom. It's a different format, and it's definitely not set in a. I mean, it's a cartoon. You can do so much with it. It's not set in a post-apocalyptic world where 3/4 of the population is dead or zombified.
Right.
And there's only so much you can do in that type of world. You're limited, you know, into what you can do. And if you think about it logically, you've got to you've got to either have a cure or find a way to, you know, keep yourselves surviving and growing and, you know, keep a way to survive and to die and not, you know, cause an outbreak inside your community because everyone's infected. So it's like,
That just gets old.
Yeah, and
Very old.
you're going to rinse and repeat way too many times. And the story's been great. You've got great characters and unique communities that they've portrayed with Ezekiel and the kingdom and the governor. Like there's so many great characters, but you can also only do so many different subcultures that you can show in this type of format before it's like, okay, well, we've seen that. We've seen the crazy leader. We've seen the people that don't want to get involved. We've seen the people that are denying reality. We've seen that already. So it's like, what more are you really going to show us that you haven't already shown us in 9 seasons?
Yeah, we could be wrong. I personally haven't really kept up with it too much. I watched it at the beginning. It was cool. And then even for me, like after season 3, and I was like, it just gets like you said, rinse and repeat, like same old stuff. Like you walk into a scary house, there might be a zombie there might not be, and then you get out, and it's just like,
yeah, but the jump scares are so predictable now. It's like, oh wait,
yeah,
there it comes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just like if not, like you should, like they were better off making like a movie or something about it, holding this idea off, and then like. But that's why they pay those people the big bucks, not me. I find it hard to think about what you've done in 10 years with your life.
A lot.
Yeah, like and watching The Walking Dead is just not, and what is it on? Once a week? Once every 2 weeks or whatever? Once a month?
Oh, with the season's on, it's weekly, yeah.
I mean, unless it's a family tradition or something for some people, then like great. But like if you're big into it, then I don't know. But I don't know. It's for me, I would rather, watch a baseball series or a sporting event where it's something, it's gonna, or play, Xbox or something. Something's gonna be different. Like it's gonna be fun rather than, oh man.
Yeah, this again. I was very staunch as a supporter until probably midway through the 7th season. Once they started splitting the seasons in half, I'm like, you know what? I hate that. Like, just give me the full season. I hate having this, mid-season finale. And I know there's no mid-season finale. You're just gonna break it up because you're trying to milk your advertising dollars. Like that crap pisses me off.
Well, maybe they're gonna do that. Maybe they're gonna break up 3 seasons over 10 years. Maybe they're gonna sucker punch us and hey, look, we were wrong, Maddie, and they're gonna 2 seasons over 10 years, and I mean, who knows?
Give me 10 more years of Game of Thrones because there's enough content there for 10 more years of Game of Thrones. There's not enough content, and the amazing graphic novels that are The Walking Dead, there's not enough content for 10 more years there.
You promise not to get mad at me?
You're gonna say you've never watched Game of Thrones?
I've never.
Dude, you are. I'm so going to have to do a watch along. Like Game of Thrones is freaking amazing.
Yeah, if that's not going to keep me from not coming on again.
No, that's not going to keep.
Probably shouldn't have said that.
No,
shot myself in the foot,
bro. My co-host, who I love dearly, UNIQDNA, that's my man's in them. He's never watched an episode of Star Trek, and we are a sports and geek podcast. He's never watched Star Trek. Like, he's watched Star Wars. He's never watched Star Trek. So trust me, you not seeing Game of Thrones, they're gonna keep you off of nothing. You're good.
Yeah, all right, good. All right, cool. I had to come clean there because I've heard nothing but great things about it. But,
oh my God, so good.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You need to see some before the last season starts in April. Like, bro, you seriously.
I got to get with it, man.
I'll hook you up with the first couple seasons. We'll make this happen.
Yeah, you got to help me out here, bro.
We got you. All right. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of the Original Jeek podcast. It was my pleasure to have my friend Pat Rhoads on here, and I hope you enjoyed Pat's point of view on gaming and sports. And we will definitely have him again. Hopefully, next time UNIQDNA can be on here as well, and we can enjoy Pat's presence. But Pat, thank you again so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And everyone, thank you again for listening. Follow us on all the socials at Jeek Nation. And until next time, peace.
Yeah.